Hey everyone, and welcome back to Choirwire, your go-to space for real talk about teaching choir. I'm Alex, and today we're talking about something that can make or break your school year, setting expectations. So this is part 2 to our previous episode, which was how to begin your school year. We're diving into the how and the why of setting clear, consistent, and realistic expectations for your choir classroom. Whether you're a first-year teacher or a seasoned pro, this stuff matters. Okay, let's be honest. Long lists don't stick when we're talking about your expectations list. Some people like to say the word rules. A long time ago, someone told me, don't say the word rules, say expectations. I think it was my interning teacher, Krissa Rame. Love her. She's amazing. But I feel like expectations set the expectation. It's really clear. If your classroom expectations read like a novel, you've already lost them. So what works? A short, powerful list, I think, would work better. And usually on that list, you want to include how they should behave in your classroom. So it should contain stuff about being respectful, being responsible, and being ready. So for instance, one of the things that I have on my expectations list says, be in your seat by the time the bell rings. That is a 100%. You have to do that for me. So that way we can start class on time. If we have people just mulling about when the bell rings, oh my God, that drives me insane. So being in place by the time the bell rings, super important for me. That is my number one. And then of course, the rest of it contains expectations about being respectful, like I said, being responsible and being ready. Have your pencil, be nice to others. Just be respectful, period. That's pretty much what it is. And there's only a short list of them. So I believe, I'm not in my classroom right now, but I believe that there's no more than 5 expectations on our list. If you have a long list, like I said earlier, it will not work. Trust me. They should be easy to remember. They should cover behavior, attitude, participation without micromanaging every little thing. And of course, some people have different ideas of how they want their classroom to run. Just make sure it's consistent with your teaching philosophy, like your expectations match up with your philosophy, and that you actually refer to them in class. Teaching philosophy. That's another podcast episode. Now, expectations mean nothing without accountability. So you've got to set some consequences. When you set consequences, clarity and consistency are super important. And no, you don't have to be the scary authoritarian. You just have to follow through. Follow through, so important. I usually frame it like this. First time is a general reminder. Second time, it's a private check-in or a seat move. There's probably, honestly, in the middle of all of that, there's multiple check-ins. There's reminders, still more reminders. The third time, there's parent contact or some sort of warning about taking away a privilege, something like that. But we try our best to handle it inside the classroom. So not having to write a referral. I think I only had to write maybe 3 referrals this past year, and that was a lot for me. Usually I'm not writing referrals at all because we handle it in the classroom. And I always communicate this up front. When students know the process, it removes the drama and puts the responsibility back on them. Don't we love that? Communication is your superpower. You're going to say it, and you're going to say it again, and then you're going to post it. But seriously, do not assume that they remember just because you said it once. I put posters on the wall. I love making me a Canva poster, slides during rehearsal, expectation resets after holidays or concerts, especially after your 9 weeks or however many weeks your school year goes in. There needs to be some sort of reminder about this is how we entered the classroom. This is where we put our bags down. This is how we sit in our seats. This is how we answer questions. All that stuff. Remind them. Do not assume ever. And here's the big one. Consistency in tone. If you're calm and clear when things go off track, students will follow your lead. Oh my gosh, such a big thing. If you are, reactionary and you are emotional every time, they're going to learn to push your buttons. Trust. I have learned that before. I am calm, I'm quiet. It's a quick little reminder. It doesn't need to be in a raised, shouted voice because then they're going to get used to that. I promise you, if you use a calm, collected tone that does not have any emotion in it, you're going to be so much better off. You'll be a happier teacher. So we've talked a lot about discipline here, but not enough about reinforcement. I like having a simple reward system, nothing fancy. We have a treasure box that students are allowed to choose out of. It's a cardboard box that I bought off of Amazon in the shape of a treasure box, and it's decorated like a treasure box, and the kids love it. Do I go in the treasure box and get what I want? Yes. There's little trinkets in there, little toys you can buy these little trinket toys in bulk off of Amazon, if you didn't know. And then you can also buy bulk candy. I know some people are against candy or toys, fine, whatever, but it works for us. So find what works for you. There is no solid answer here. There's no solid way to do reinforcement. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But you can also add some positive notes home. I've done that before. Sending a positive email. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, those parents are caught off guard because they're like, oh my gosh, I was expecting something negative. But no, just send a random positive email home. I usually start out really good in the beginning of the school year, and then I get busy and lazy. So just throw those in there here and there. You can even have a choir MVP of the week. That sounds cool too. Bonus points or donuts. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many things of donuts I bought my boys this year. They were so good this year, but now my bank account is empty because of all the donuts I bought. Now, spending money on your kids. That is something that some people are like, that's a no, don't do it. It's up to you. Like I said, it is your classroom. You choose what you want to do. You'd be surprised how much it matters when you say, I noticed that, especially with middle and high schoolers. Recognition is fuel. Oh, yeah. So if you're seeing the good, that's another thing I've heard before. Recognize the good. Point out the good. Because if you're always harping on the bad, that's what they're going to be used to. That's the attention and the quote unquote love that you're giving them. And that's not good. So if you want to give good love, then I would suggest making sure to point out all the good moments. Example, if you see Sarah in the corner there, she's always sitting with great posture every single day. You're going to give Sarah a shout out. If you see Matt over in the corner and he's always got his pencil every single day, you're going to give Matt a reinforcing shout out to say, I'm so glad that you bring your pencil to school every single day, Matt. I appreciate students like you. Make it a big deal. Those other kids will be like, oh, why is Matt getting all the attention? And then they will slowly start becoming like Matt. Clear expectations aren't just about classroom management. They're about creating a culture where everyone knows the rules, feels safe, like I said in the last episode, and has space to grow. So here's your challenge. Take a look at your current expectations. Do you have any expectations right now? If you don't, start a list. Can you say them in under 15 seconds? If not, you should tighten them up. Then think through your consequences and rewards. Keep it simple, keep it consistent, and keep showing up with clarity and kindness. You've got this, especially my new teachers out there. Talking about your philosophy, your teaching philosophy. What do you believe in? You have to know it. It's going to be really hard to enforce expectations and consequences if you don't know what you believe in. If you're like, I don't want them chewing gum during class, be really, really solid on that. Do not chew gum during class, and you have to be consistent with it. If you're like, I don't want them to talk while I'm talking, be really consistent about it and make sure you make that a clear expectation. You have to let them know what you expect and what you don't tolerate. All right, Choirwire fam, this is our first guest ever on our podcast here. This is Michelle Bendett. Welcome, Michelle. How are you today?
I am living my best life here. It's July, and very happy to be here and join you on your new venture.
Thank you. You're welcome to being the first guest on our podcast here, Choirwire. I'm super excited to have you here and allow everybody to gain your many years of knowledge, your amazing years of knowledge. And Michelle and I, we met back when I was just a little baby teacher. And I feel like she has been very monumental in my growth. And I just think back to those first couple of years where you were killing the game down here in Orlando, and it was just so great to learn from you. So,
oh, thank you. That's very generous.
well, Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience? Because now you're in Minnesota.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to Florida State, like you, and did a lot of teaching in Orlando mostly, and a few years of elementary music teaching in Fort Myers. And then I moved up here, was ready for a change, and now I've done 10 years in Minnesota, if you can believe that. 10 years.
Wow.
I just finished my 10th year. So during these 23 years of teaching, I've done 4 years of elementary total, 4 years of high school total, and the rest has been middle school. So I think I like all of the levels, and I think it's really useful to teach different levels because it informs your teaching across the board. But I think middle school, these are my people.
Yes. Love middle school. Mm-hmm. Some of the best years, honestly, that I taught was in middle school. So much fun.
Also, in addition to loving teaching middle school, I really loved being a middle schooler, mm-hmm. or I should say a junior high kid, because that's what we called it back in those days. That's a really, I think, unusual experience. A lot of people have negative feelings associated with those years in their lives because they're pretty treacherous, but my experience was actually really awesome. So I think that's part of the reason why I feel called to try to create that experience for other kids.
That's awesome. That's great. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So this episode is an extension to the first episode, which was how to begin your school year. So I have a couple questions for you. So the first one is, what are your top 3 tips for teachers preparing to start the school year in choir?
My top 3 tips. Well, it kind of depends on, I think, where you are in your career, because if you are experienced, you don't have to start at square one every year. Go back to your lesson plans. I always do a Google slideshow for my classes, just so I have some visuals for them to reference while I'm teaching. And at the beginning of the year, I go back to, what did I do in 2024? What did I do in 2023? What did I do in 2021? Because there's good stuff in there that sometimes we forget about, because we're always kind of looking. I mean, at least for me, I know I'm always looking for the new exciting thing, because I don't like to always do the same things all the time. I get a little bored, but in the process of doing that, we lose some really good stuff. So go back. Also, I'm always going to say structure. I mean, you're going to hear me use the word structure in my answers just all the time, because these guys crave it. They need it. Mm-hmm. It is just part of what we do as well in a regular rehearsal plan all year. So why not do some of that structure on the first day? So my general structure, looks something like, for the first, this is kind of going to mix in with my number 2. My number 2 is about seating charts. We'll come back to that in a second. But I always have them come in. I have their names on the projector with a number next to it. My chairs are numbered. They know exactly where to go sit. And I normally have some type of written something I need them to do when they come in, whether that's music theory once we get going, or tell me something about you and follow these prompts. And then we sing. We definitely do all of our normal stretches. I like to do stretch songs, like a pop song with a stretch kind of routine in it, because they've been sitting a lot and listening to a lot of, people, in their day, a lot of syllabus, and this is what this class is going to be like. And I just like to get them up and moving. And you see the joy on their faces when they do that at the beginning of the year. It just feels very fresh compared to the rest of their day. So that, and then I segue right into echoing percussion patterns, body percussion, some diaphragmatic breathing. I do longer breaths, kind of calm it down, slow it down. And then we do sirens, and then we go into vocalises. And then I'm gonna look for my best rote songs. I'm gonna look for the ones that they have the most fun in, ones they can have success with quickly, ones that involve harmony, and just some examples of things I really love for beginning of the year. Yonder Come Day is probably time for me to bring that one out again, because
I love that one.
It's been a
It's a
few
classic.
years. It's a classic for many reasons. But things like, Evan Powers, the pop loop songs that Evan Powers has done, those are just really quick ways to connect with them. So those are just some ideas of what I do at the beginning of the year to start establishing the structure that we will follow throughout the year in class. Although I won't put any printed music in their hands yet. But I don't wait too long. I will do it pretty quickly.
I love that you said structure so much, because new teachers, I don't think they've really heard that word a lot, structure. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I know that you have a lot of structure in your classes.
I feel like it helps your sanity as a teacher, because it gives you, it's a form, that you follow.
Yeah.
Think of like musical form, like if you're writing a pop song, you need an A section, a B section, a bridge. That's your structure in class, like what are you doing at what time? And for me, I don't deviate from my structure very much from the beginning to the end of the year. The activities change and the things I plug into those spots change, but I have a very predictable structure, And there's also those routines to build in too, like where they sit, getting their folder, whatever your material system is for materials, what if they're going to be in by the bell? Are they in the door by the bell? Are they in their seat by the bell? Making those types of decisions. And when my number 2 is seating charts, because that's just a level of organization that I feel is so important to start on the right foot at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely.
We've all had those classes where we're not super prepared.
Yeah.
And you learn to roll with the punches and get okay with those types of things too. But I try not really to let those things happen on my watch very much, because I think it's so important to be consistent.
Absolutely.
If you're not consistent, then the kids that start coming in and going like, what are we doing today? Can we watch a movie? No, like we have to establish a work ethic. That's important for us adults. That's important for kids. That's just important for humans, that type of consistency and demanding a high level of engagement from yourself.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I like to stand at the door to greet kids. And by having their seating chart on the projector, it makes that part easy. And it says on my slide, like, find your seat number and put your belongings at the back of the room, find your seat number and sit before the bell. And I spend a lot of time on seating charts throughout the year because needs always change and kids change and I make mistakes. Like I think that one configuration is going to work best for the chemistry of this group, and then I find out I'm totally wrong. I mean, I've had I've had really good seating charts that we'll get to the end of the quarter and they'll be like, do we get a new seating chart? And in my head, I'm thinking, no, that was like the perfect seating chart. Like I don't want to move anybody. And then I have other ones that are like horrible within the first day.
Absolutely. Been there.
I had one like that this year with my 6th graders. They came in. I was like, I'm going to do only 3 rows instead of 4 this time. And it's going to be more width than height, more than depth. And they came in and they all started just talking to each other immediately. And I was like, I'm never going to get anything done. And the next time they came in, I had another seating chart. So, and the funny thing is, like, that was April.
Oh my God.
So, they will humble you.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this game, right? You will get humbled.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. But seating charts are important. And I find that my kids do rely on them. And they kind of almost get a little excited about it. It's like a little mystery to solve, look up, what's my number? Where's that number in the room? Let me go find it. Who's going to sit next to me? Where are my friends sitting? You'll spend a lot of time doing that in advance, but it's so worth it. My third thing was to overplan. I really, it's the rare case when I don't have something to fill out all the way until 2 minutes pack up time. And I wouldn't even have them pack up in advance if our situation was more convenient to the hallway. I would go to the bell, grab your bag from under your chair, adios. But that's not how it works in my school. We're inside of a music suite. They have a little bit of places to walk until they get out to the hallway. I don't allow them to bring their backpacks to their seats because how many issues happen when they can dig into their backpacks?
Oh, yeah.
It's just not an idea that has ever worked for me. So I really do go until the end or those last 2 minutes. And if you have stuff left over, save it for later. Don't rush through it, to try to I need to hit everything on my list at the beginning of the year. If there are good vibes happening, roll with it. Yeah. Extend that activity because it's not always the right time to shift when you're learning these kids and this particular mix of kids that has come into your room. Which also leads me to just one more point I'll make before we move on to something else. Our job is so much about shifting the energy in the room. When we can read the energy in the room, is it negative? Is it positive? Is it low key? Is it more hyped up? And then shift it to make it so we can accomplish whatever tasks we set out to do that day. Then we're in a really good place. And I think that's a hard thing for young teachers, or I should say, I've seen student teachers kind of at varying degrees of skill with this, because when you're so concerned about what you're doing, you stop really reading with depth what's happening. And when you can really focus on both of those things, know what you're doing. And I often refer to a sticky note on my hand. I'll have all the stuff on the screen, but I don't want to stop and turn and be like, oh, what's the next thing I'm doing now? I have a sticky note on the piano that's just boom, 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 boom. So while I'm finishing my last repetition, my last couple keys, of this particular vocalese, my eyes are already looking at what's coming next. So I'm keeping the pacing moving and trying to get that energy where I need it. If the kids are so hyped up that seems like a bad idea to match that, and I need to slow them down, then I do things that will calm them more, things that will focus them more. I pause more. I speak more slowly. I don't rush like I am right now. to get all my thoughts out, at once. So that's, you want to bring your A game. but you also want to be able to like shift that energy to what you need it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant, honestly. That's amazing. You're just amazing. So that leads us, because I know you said that you greet them at the door. That leads me to my next question. How do you create a welcoming and inclusive environment for new and returning students?
This is actually pretty hard for me in my school now because, I think back to my glory days at Avalon Middle School, and I had grade-based ensembles for treble, which I really loved. So all my 8th graders had been together for 3 years, and they were like sisters. I'm still so tight with that group too. Yeah, they're amazing because they went through so many experiences together over those 3 years. But that's not what I have now. Now I have mixed 7th and 8th graders together and 6th graders who have come from 4 different schools at least, elementary schools. Right. So there's a good amount of this, like having to get to know each other type of activities that I need to include. There's no kind of simple way to say it. I think it also comes back to like reading the energy of the room and trying to figure out what needs to happen to get kids out of their comfort zone and to mix and to mingle. Singing is so good for that.
Yeah.
Singing is so good for that. I like to put them in singing circles that are random. And I've done before where like I had a piece of colored tape under their chair. And some were green and some were yellow and some were pink. So I could say like, if you're sitting in a pink chair, go stand over there. If you're sitting in a green chair, come to the middle. If you're sitting in a yellow chair, go over by that speaker. And then we sing, I assign parts based on their colors. I sometimes do odd versus even numbers with their chair numbers, come up with all different ways to mix them up. And then other times I do take volunteers, especially for like a descant part or something, because I want to see who raises their hand first. Sometimes that's new kids. That tells you a lot about a kid's personality and their ambition, sometimes it's new kids. So I think there's a lot of ways to create an environment where you're like welcoming and affirming all singers. But I don't have like the magic answer. I feel like it's one of those puzzles that you have to keep solving over and over again based on what you see and what you hear. If there is any type of toxic behavior popping up, boom, new seating chart. Or
there you go.
Or I'm pulling those kids aside, or I'm mixing them up in some different ways on that day to get them to not be, stay in that issue that's going to just grow. The other thing I think about new versus returning singers is returning singers really, I think, should feel empowered to show what they know, show some leadership, but also be welcoming to the new singers as well, knowing that everybody's success is tied together. So I find that's a really good thing to address. There's many of you who have been in my class before, and I often ask them questions and ask them to share things. What was your favorite? Or how did we do this? What do you remember about the Veterans Day event last year that you can share with the group? And in terms of musical skill, there's times when I want to dig deeper into some expressive markings or some type of interpretation in the music. And I ask those questions. I don't try to make everything super simple for anybody who's new. I try to, meet them where they are, but then keep adding questions with more depth of knowledge to hook in the kids who have been with me before, but also make transfers that helps the kids who have been in band and orchestra before, or they were in elementary choir, or whatever the case may be. They're going to build on their prior music experience and start to make transfers. So I think, just keep expecting more of them, demanding more of them. And you see that those newer kids just really generally, there are sometimes exceptions and kids who need other tricks and other tactics, but generally you can get most of those new kids on board in a way that then they start to puff up their chest a little bit because they recognize that they do know things.
Yeah. Yeah. What strategies do you use to engage students right from the first class? Because I know you talked about how you have your structure, and some of those things that you do in your structured class setting can also be used for engaging students as well. But let's maybe think about how would someone, let's say it's a new class, how do you get a new class engaged from the get-go? The first week, first day, how does that go for you?
I mean, come on, you guys. This is where you have to remember that you are a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to turn the show on. They want to watch the show.
Yes.
So I think sometimes we forget that, right? Like they might have other teachers during the school day that are not comfortable in front of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of experience in front of crowds. So turn your happy face on, be entertaining, be engaging. I know that we're all, not extroverted, even though we're in this field, but we are all performers and we know what engages an audience.
Yeah.
So you have to look and act and sell the idea that you are excited to be there and that you are happy to be their teacher. And that you are working so hard because you want to give them opportunities and bring out the best in them. So I think there is just a good amount of selling to engage them. Yeah. And when you can add, we're doing the vocal stuff, right? We're singing. We are adding body percussion. We are adding some type of engagement with the kids beside us, whether that's a hand clap game or standing in a circle and looking at each other. Maybe you're, adding, whether it's a cappella or you're adding piano or some type of track that they sing along with, right? You're just doing all of these things that engage all of their senses. I feel like we have to just think like performers, what's going to capture their attention. Yeah. And I don't mean that like in a cheap way. Like that should not cheapen the integrity of your teaching, but it's important because I don't do so well in faculty meetings if the person delivering them to me is monotone. And has no expression, right? Yeah. And and there's no visual for me to look at. And, I struggle in those situations. So get them out of their chairs.
It's almost like we have to think like, how would you want to be entertained? We have to think about it on the opposite end too. Because I think some people are like, I'm the teacher, I'm just going to stand up here and do my thing. But no, like you said, you have to be entertaining. Otherwise, they are not going to pay attention. So.
And are you not always going to feel like it? Yeah, you're not always going to feel like it, but you fake it till you make it, right? Act your way into a new way of thinking. And I find that even mornings that are harder for me, and I'm kind of a morning person at this age, but even mornings like today when I didn't sleep really well the night before, because I'm also 47 and we don't sleep through the night anymore. That's fun. But even mornings like this one, I find that when I fake it, I snap out of it, right? But if I keep thinking, I'm so tired, I'm going to keep being tired and looking at the clock. And it's just not a good way to do life. So that's something I talk to the kids about too, you can't let negativity spin around in there. You got to go for it, whether you feel like it or not.
Michelle, what advice would you give to new choir teachers starting their first year?
What advice would I give to new choir teachers starting their first year? There are so many different ways I can go with this. Have a growth mindset and know that you're going to be on this journey, hopefully for your career. We'd like to keep you in the field. where you are constantly learning new things. You're constantly stretching yourself. You're sometimes banging your head against the wall. You're trying to solve the puzzle. I mean, it's a ride. But I think that teaching is an amazing profession. And the longer I teach, the more I love it. And I think it's just because I've just grown more into my skin as a human. I started teaching in 2000, and I think I was so concerned with kind of outward appearances, or like whatever the final product was going to be, because my mentors were seasoned teachers that had a zillion kids, whose uniforms were all perfect, who were getting the straight superiors at music performance assessments. And this is in Florida. I know every state has their own thing. And I thought that if I couldn't achieve that in a year, or my first handful of years, that I was a failure. And I have learned that success looks so different depending on what school you're in, what the community is, what particular child you are helping grow as a human. And I think when we look at product and don't value process more, it's very dangerous. And I think it's kind of a losing game. I mean, you can chase those mountaintop highs your whole career, and one after the next. But you also can find joy and depth and meaning from the interactions that you have with your kids every day. The hello in the hallway, the conversation at lunchtime, the asking a kid about that game that is super important to them and how they did. Also getting kids to change their attitudes and also have a growth mindset, right? Like demonstrating that success, I mean, even that word, defining that word is kind of complicated. We could have like podcast episodes on any of these thoughts that come up. Getting kids to understand that the learning process is really important, and it's also really messy, and we're all in it. We're all in it. We're at different parts of the journey, but we are all in that learning process. So new teachers, enjoy it. Find ways to have a growth mindset and just figure out whatever puzzle's in front of you. And if you can't figure it out, laugh, give yourself a point for trying whatever that thing was that you tried, and then call your friend, your colleague, right? Your treasured colleague, talk about it, laugh about it, troubleshoot how to come back to it the next day, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I think teaching is an amazing profession, and you will learn so much from these kids. That's part of that growth mindset, right? It's not like, here's all of the knowledge that I acquired being in my advanced choir in college, and now I'm going to pass it on to you and make you a little replication of everything that I've ever tried to be.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, that's not what we do. If that's what you're looking to do in a K through 12 music classroom, I mean, you're probably going to be disappointed. And also getting in the way of your own evolution. Right. Because life is so much more, and connection with people is so much more. And has there ever been a more important time in the world to do what we do than right now? Preach. Yeah. ChatGPT can do a lot and things. It cannot stand in front of a classroom of people that are looking for connection and looking for inspiration and looking for engagement and looking for real-time feedback from a human that you give with your face and with your energy, and creating the sounds that we create as a group. I mean, the world needs this. The world needs this. So think big picture, growth mindset. You're doing a super important job that is just going to keep becoming more meaningful the more you get out of your own way. Don't let ego take over, and just be with your people.
I feel like not just new teachers need to hear that, but people that maybe are in their fifth year, 10th year, and they're like, oh man, should I keep doing this? So I think those are such great tips, Michelle, that you were able to provide for us. So thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah, we all get stagnant too, right? So you have to come back to what fills my cup. Why am I doing this? I talk to so many people that make more money than me, that have stock options or whatever that goes along with their job, but they are looking at the clock. They are not inspired by their work. And they will say that, they'll say that like, at least you love what you do. And I think we discount that when we hear that from people, because sometimes, especially if you're a beginning teacher and your salary is hard with the cost of living, I acknowledge that's a real thing. But I think that we don't always hear it when people say that, but it is so true. Like at the end of your time on this earth, what is going to matter most? Is it going to be how big your house was, how much money you had in your bank account? No, it's going to be how many lives you impacted. And we get to do that. What a blessing. What an awesome responsibility. And I want to just point out one more thing. Yes, we work hard. We work harder than, like, physically, our physical output, our mental output, our emotional output is a lot. Because we take a lot of that in too, right? There's a lot of that input that we're getting from the kids, and we have to be able to output a lot. That can feel really draining. I don't have a quick fix for that. You have to constantly mitigate your mental health and wellness.
Yes.
Constantly. That will never change. You're never going to have it figured out, like, oh, now I can do all this and stay mentally healthy. No, it's constant. You have to keep checking in with yourself and doing things that help you. How lucky are we to do what we do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my mom was a teacher for a bajillion years, but the amount of influence and the amount of inspired students she had once they left her, like I ended up going to high school with some of those kids, and they were like, your mom is amazing, your mom's a cool teacher. And it is, I didn't understand back then how important it is, but now that I'm in, going into year 15, and can't believe that, but
Wow.
I see, I know, I see that it's not about the money. It is the wealth that you get is the wealth seeing your students become amazing people. You see them going out and doing what they want to do. I have so many kids that I follow on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they're just doing the thing, and I'm just so proud of them. And I think that sometimes we miss the point of what we do.
Well, and one last point, actually, I know you don't need more stuff from me. But good. One last thing I want to say is I have had some really difficult times during my career, in my personal life. And I can't show that when I go to school, right? I go to school and I turn that off, and I am who those kids need me to be. And I know that might feel challenging sometimes, because sometimes we want to crawl into a hole.
Yeah.
That's not healthy for us.
No.
And the fact that I had to show up every day on time and put my happy face on and act my way into a new way of thinking and focus on them, I have actually looked at all of that stuff as a positive. So you can look at, I'm responsible to all these people and they always need me I've had those thoughts myself, but really I think of it in a more positive light now. Like what an awesome responsibility that is for me, because it makes me motivated to be the best version of myself.
Absolutely.
Every day when I go to school. And will I fall short sometimes? Yes. But it's not about, but this is the journey, right? Life is messy. This is the journey, but I'm going to always strive to be on time and to be planful and to show up and to be that teacher that those kids need. And I feel like I have really benefited that from my life, the stability and the consistency that and the health that requires of you. Your mental health, your physical health, these are all really worthwhile things for you to invest in and practice.
Wow. These are such great thoughts, Michelle.
Thank you.
So glad you were able to join us today, but I'm glad that you were able to be our first guest on Choirwire. Amazing. I feel like I need to give you like a crown or something, because amazing.
Yes, and thank you. And don't discount the value that your colleagues will have in your life. Colleagues like you, Alex, I am just so inspired by the work that you are doing, and you just keep up the good work. Bravo from Minnesota.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. And thank you for being my very first guest on Choirwire. That's it for this episode of Choirwire. Thank you to our special guest, Michelle Bendett. If this helped you refocus before the school year or gave you an idea to try, send me a message on our Linktree or DM on my Instagram, or share it with another director. And if there's a topic you want me to cover next, you know where to find me. Until next time, y'all.